there are a lot of men who get dressed up every day. They go to work and they're a piece of mess because they refuse to tap into that. They don't want to. They don't want to face that trauma. And you must get to a point in your life where you say, you know what? Because your wife is crying out, your girlfriend is crying out, the significant other in your life is crying out, trying to figure out what is wrong with you. Because most males go through male menopause. And I break it down into like 6 stages. And the first stage is let me give you an example of male menopause, and I break it down to 6 stages. Let's just say you're walking down the street. Okay, let me give you an example. You grew up in a household and you saw your mother abuse you saw your mother and father fighting a lot. You're in the car with your girl. You riding down the street and you see a couple fight. The first thing is going to happen, you're going to pause. And you're going to recall what happened to you, what you learned in your childhood. That's the first thing you're going to recall. I'm just giving you an example. You recall. And once you recall, you're going to anchor that emotion or that feeling. So now you're going to recall what happened when you were a child. You're going to anchor that emotion and that feeling. And once you anchor that emotion and that feeling, it's going to trigger. The trigger is going to cause you to engage with your significant other in a negative fashion. Once you engage that individual, now you're applying that anger from your childhood onto the individual who you care for the most. And then what's going to happen later on, you're going to go back and reflect back on your childhood because you went through what we just call male menopause. And male menopause occurs when you recall, you anchor, you trigger, you engage, and apply, and you reflect. So you could just think about yourself as an individual, as a male, and think about when you get angry about something. It's going to correlate with something that happened in your past. And 8 times out of 10, if you're with a significant other, you're going to anger that emotion toward that individual during that time period or later on at another time. And it's going to trigger something that's going to cause you to engage, and you're going to apply that trauma to that individual. And then you're going to later on self-reflect on it and be like, wow. And I call that male menopause. And you're going to go through those 6 stages. It's really when you've been through a traumatic experience. There's something that happens that caused you to recall it. You anchor that emotion. Once you anchor that emotion, it causes a trigger. You engage that emotion and you apply it, and then you have to self-reflect. And that male menopause.
With the male menopause, how do with the male menopause and the toxic male masculinity, you put those two together?
Man, you talking about that's a session. Come on, bro. You that's probably about 3 real talk. That's 3 sessions. Because you got to understand, we look at the 4 T's: transfer your trauma with truth and transparency. Now I'm gonna give you a little nugget today. People pay for this. Draw the letter T on a piece of paper. Let's just say you draw the letter T on a piece of paper. And when I'm in a session, I ask the individuals that I'm working with, I want you to write down the 4 T's on that paper. Now, when you draw the letter T, there's only 3 areas where you can write. There's only 3 tips. So you have to write the 4th word somewhere on that letter T. Where you decide to write that 4th word says a lot about you. So let me just give you an example. I'm going to do it on this piece of paper. They people be paying for this, man. Anyway. see, you have the letter T right here. And in a session, I would have the individuals write down the 4 words. I'll give them the 4 words. And I'm going to ask them to write down those words on this letter T. So some people will write one word right here, and right here. But you still have your 4th word. So then it's interesting where individuals place the 4th word because it says a lot about them. So I just want to give that little nugget. That's a free nugget for the night.
Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. But that says a lot about and you'd be surprised where people place certain words when it comes to the 4 T's. So when you're looking at male masculinity and you're looking at male menopause, there's a correlation, because we still have the trauma. That's the correlation, the trauma that we refuse to release. That's the correlation between male menopause and male masculinity. It's all reflecting back to trauma. And until we get to a point as brothers, as men, as males, where we're able to reflect and to say it's okay to release, we're going to stay incarcerated. And we must get out of this incarceration, because it's going to lead to a physical incarceration. That's why we have so many brothers in prison today, because of the constipation and incarceration. And we're scared to deal with it. And if we don't deal with it, it's going to kill us. Because in order to love who you are, you must be able to reflect on the experiences that made you. In order to love who you are, you have to go back and reflect on the experiences that made you. I am who I am today because I'm able to go back and reflect. Because all your emotions are connected, whether they're negative or positive. Emotions are connected. So you're going to have to be able to go back and reflect on those negative emotions and on negative and your negative emotions and the things that have hindered you from becoming the person you are, in order to shape you to become the person you want to become.
You cooking, bro?
I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just serving up the appetizer.